Good morning to all you folks joining us on TMJ4's Facebook page. I'm Vince Vitrano in Waukesha right now, getting set for our noon newscast today. But I wanted to pop on Facebook to connect with those of you who might be joining us here, might not be able to join us at noon, and update you on our ongoing effort today to partner with the Waukesha County Community Foundation in their goal here to raise money for the victims of the Waukesha Christmas parade tragedy. Not only the victims who were immediately impacted, those who were injured, and of course those families who are mourning the loss. We have 5 people who were killed in that terrible event Sunday evening, but also thinking long game, long term, the needs that we don't know about yet here in the Waukesha community and throughout Southeast Wisconsin. So the goal of the fund is to not have a goal. It's to continue growing these funds for the needs that may present themselves long down the road. But TMJ4 is very proud to partner in this effort with, again, Waukesha County Community Foundation. And the fund is called United for Waukesha Community Fund. We have information, should be displaying on your screen on how you can donate, but real simply, it's waukeshafoundation.org/parade is where you can go in there and pop your credit card in there right now, and you can donate. Landmark Credit Union is also working with the folks here, and you can go to any Landmark location, any branch, and write a check, give them cash if that is easier for you to do. Landmark, important partners, and they threw in a whole bunch of money themselves as well to kind of get this effort going. The other unique thing that I'll share with you right now is we have a number of local companies, as you would expect, here in Southeast Wisconsin, who have stepped up with considerable gifts to jumpstart the campaign to raise money. Molson Coors, I mentioned Landmark, American Family Insurance, Milwaukee Brewers Community Foundation, among those who have already jumped into the effort and given sizable donations or commitments to this fund. I'm really excited to share this number with you. And while we're talking, if you have any questions that you want to post, please go ahead and post those in the chat section here, and I will try to address any questions that you may have as we talk about this. But the number right now, and I just checked with the folks here at Waukesha County Community Foundation, the number for the fund, $778,969. Since I came on the air this morning on TMJ4 News Today at 5 a.m., we've raised about, or the foundation has raised with our continuing support, more than $250,000 in just a matter of hours today. So what a huge jump, no doubt, due in part to so many of our viewers here in TMJ4 who have been generous and have donated. A couple of other things to pass along to you on that front. The fund has now received donations from all 50 states, as well as donations from Canada. There are well over 3,000 individual donors. Some people have donated as little as $10. Many others have donated more than that. Some individual donations have been as much as $10,000. The foundation wanted to pass along to everyone who's been so generous their gratitude, not just for the 10,000s, but for the tens. One of the things that they want to do through this fund is, of course, raise the money that's going to be necessary to help the families who are in need. But the other thing is the message that it sends about how many people care about the community here in Waukesha, about the people who were impacted, about all of us here in Southeast Wisconsin. How many people, even with a $10 donation, cared enough to want to be a part of that effort? It's an important part of the larger message that the Waukesha County Community Foundation wants to send out. They're also working with United Way, which is supporting that effort here. United Way of Greater Milwaukee and Waukesha County is supporting the effort to continue raising money for this fund. Again, if you have questions about where the money is going to go or how it's going to be used, go ahead and post them in the comments section. And we should be delayed. In fact, I can see it up on the screen right now. waukeshafoundation.org/parade is how you can get in and make a contribution, small or large, to this amazing effort. Talked a little bit about how companies are stepping up and making major contributions. Among those is Molson Coors. It's just a little bit less than 2 years ago, if you all remember, when we were talking about a tragedy that happened at that company right there in the Menominee Valley, the mass shooting situation that took place there, and how the community rallied around Molson Coors and around Miller Valley with huge contributions that benefited the families of the victims. And this morning I was talking with Tammy Garrison of Molson Coors about their contribution now to this effort. And it was interesting hearing her talk about how much it mattered, not just the dollar total, but as I mentioned earlier, how many people contributed to that effort and what that meant to all of them at Molson Coors, how special that was to them. So they were more than happy to return the favor and contribute to this fund. I mentioned Brewers Community Foundation. Milwaukee Brewers had manager Craig Counsell. I know general manager David Stearns was out this morning. I believe pitcher Freddie Peralta still in town and was out at a coffee shop, a Colectivo on the east side today, greeting people who were willing to make contributions to the fund. That's how the Brewers, in part, are doing what they're doing. Landmark Credit Union, I mentioned, in addition to donating a whole bunch of money themselves, also has opened up their branches to people who want to contribute to this effort. Interesting thing about Waukesha County Community Foundation as well. They are not a service provider. So when you're contributing to this fund, it's going to go into a fund that is targeted specific to the Christmas parade tragedy. But then from there, with this pool of money, what they do is they collect the money, they manage the funds, they invest it so that these funds can grow, and then they allow other community organizations that are the service providers to go out and make grant requests. So it's a really efficient model. They bring in the money, and then these groups that are already on the ground, already making connections in the community, already doing good work, say, hey, we need funding for XYZ. Maybe it's going to be the band at Waukesha South. Maybe it's going to be some of the victims' families immediately. Could be funeral expenses, could be massive hospital bills, all of those sort of things. A lot of medical expenses. Yeah, Beth checking it. A lot of medical expenses to be covered. Time missed from work. For those families who, if you have a child who's at Children's Wisconsin right now, and we know it was 18 children who were brought there and treated immediately after the tragedy, some in better shape than others. A number of them were in ICU. So if you're a mom or a dad and you need to miss work for days, maybe weeks, to be with your child, there are expenses associated with that. So is that something that this fund can help with? All of these are questions that will be out there and aren't necessarily answered today. But the foundation is well situated to do that. That's what it does all the time, to manage the money that they get, to help that money grow, and then to put it out into community groups that are already doing the work on the ground. So it's important for TMJ4 to pass that information along with you. There are other fundraisers set up. Of course, there are GoFundMe pages and all of those. Every time we do stories about that, it's really important. Kristen Byrne actually is going to be anchoring our noon show today. She's our consumer investigator. Kristen's advice always is just make sure to double check before you click send. Make sure it's going to a legitimate source. Double check that GoFundMe page. Really do your research and see, is this going to someone who really is a victim of this tragedy who needs my help, or somebody running a scam out there? I don't have any specific information about any scams happening so far, but these things pop up all the time. So if you're not contributing to this fund and you do want to put your money somewhere else to help, encourage you to please be extra careful and make sure, double check, triple check that money is going to go to someplace that you intend it to go to. No worries here if you're donating to the Waukesha Fund. Again, it's waukeshafoundation.org/parade. Sarah checking in here. Yeah, talking about the bills for parents being off of work with their children. And there's obviously not a good time for a tragedy like this, but it's natural for all of us to think about this occurring right before Thanksgiving and then just weeks before the Christmas holiday, Hanukkah as well, coming up these holidays where gift giving is a part of the tradition. And think of those families who might be in a really difficult situation with mounting medical bills or other things that are associated with this. What a challenge that would be. So this fund will likely be there for them in some capacity as well. Excuse me. So again, as we mentioned, $778,969 is where the fund is right now. And there's not a goal for this one. Oh, hi, Shelley.
Okay.
I'm live right here. You got some information for me? We're on Facebook. Oh, well, all right.
And then I got a brief note, 807. Watts declined, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
800. So there's Shelley Marquardt here from Waukesha County Community Foundation. We're kind of borrowing their space because we have a number of live interviews set up with them in our continuing partnership for today. But it was good of Shelley to come literally down the hall and offer that update. So now the fund over $800,000, over $807,000. I also talked with the staff here as well about, because I've done many years of nonprofit work. I think those of you who have followed me here on social media, I've been involved with Special Olympics Wisconsin for many years. I was part of the first tee of Southeast Wisconsin and on board there. So a lot of experience in the nonprofit sector. So we were just kind of troubleshooting ideas and brainstorming. And I said, you're not going to set a goal, right? You're not going to say, we want to raise $1 million or $2 million. And again, the thought here at the foundation is, no, we don't want to set a goal because we don't want to cap how much money is coming in, because it's not like we're trying to fund a building where there's a set cost or one particular effort where we know it's going to cost X number of dollars. What they want to do is establish this fund, help it grow, and have it there for the long term, because in addition to the short-term things we've been talking about, the medical expenses, sadly, the funeral expenses and associated costs for those with those who have lost their lives and their families. But then where does it go from there? What about all the kids who were there who, witnessed the psychological or experienced psychological trauma from having witnessed this, or perhaps they had a friend who was injured? I mean, we live in Greendale. We're on the south side of Milwaukee County, but small Waukee, right? We all know people, I think, probably who were here. My kids know kids who were marching in the parade. Our families know other families who were here that day. So what are the long-term needs psychologically for those who were here? We don't know at this point. So what they want to do at the foundation is let this fund continue to accumulate, let people continue to be generous. Next week is Giving Tuesday, right after Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So we have Giving Tuesday to look forward to, and the hope is to continue to bring support in from around the country. As I mentioned, people donating from 50 states already, as well as Canada, to this fund. Comment up here. Don't want to donate to contribute to somebody's paycheck that is not a victim. So to that point, the foundation will have a lot of different ways and different things it's going to fund. So this isn't necessarily just a medical fund or just a funeral cost fund. All of the needs that other community foundations or organizations will bring will be vetted by this group. That's what the foundation does on a regular basis. Waukesha County Community Foundation is a fundraiser, and then any requests that come from the community will be vetted by the staff here, and they also have a board of directors. So it's why we at TMJ4 felt good about partnering with this group, because we know that the funds will be targeted to folks who need them most. Really important point, right? You don't want to just, I know folks don't want to just throw money at people who may or may not need it. We're not talking about just handing out checks. It's why everything is going through the foundation here. And the foundation has a system where they vet all the requests that come in for funding that they normally do here in the community on a regular basis. So they're well positioned to be able to review requests for funding that ultimately will come in as it relates to the Christmas parade tragedy. Not seeing any other questions at this point. We are going to be live for an hour on TMJ4 News at noon. I will have a couple of live interviews coming here from the foundation headquarters. We will also update you on the situation that's going on with the investigation. Important part of what people want to know, what's happening with the suspect. He is due in court later today as police continue their investigation, and now the district attorney's office will weigh in on that as well. So that important information is coming to you on our newscast at noon. And again, the site to donate is waukeshafoundation.org/parade. Thank you so much. I shouldn't say I'm surprised. I rarely am at the generosity of our community. Sadly, we've been through a few major tragedies in recent years before. The response is typical. People immediately begin asking, what can I do to help? What can I do to help? What can I do to help? And these pillars in our community step up and create that apparatus for all of us to jump in and do that help that I know we always do. So not remotely surprised that we're up over $800,000 the foundation is in raising money for the victims of the Christmas parade tragedy here in Waukesha. I will see you on TMJ4 News at noon. Thanks for being